you just touched on being an agent for those behind the scenes, and we had the strike a couple years ago, the Hollywood strike with the writers and all of that. Like, how can we get to the point where like everyone in the industry is appreciated and valued to the point where um we don't have to go through these crises every so often that and of course we have AI, which is another story, but how can we just fix this broken system?
Oh, man, I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did. Um, Everything's changing and so rapidly right now. I think AI is the 21st century huge, change that's happening. The 20th century was industrial revolution. Now the 21st century is AI. I really don't have a clue. I mean, I think, the unions need to keep fighting for at least regulations to slow it down and try to make sure that everybody's getting their due. Um, but I don't really know what the answer is at this point. And then on top of that, one of the reasons I ended up closing the agency was we had what they called runaway production, which is still happening. Everything was moving out of Los Angeles, and Canada had created these huge tax incentives back in the late 90s. And Toronto was they were calling it the New York City of the North. Vancouver was just taking all of the production up there. And I had clients that were struggling so hard. I mean, they were losing their house. They couldn't survive. So, and I couldn't survive either. The agency started losing a lot of money. So I ended up closing the agency because of that. I remember when I first got married, my husband, he was, as I said, a television editor, and there was I believe it was a writer's strike back mid '80s, and he didn't work for almost a year and a half. And I had a little baby. We had our second child, and we lost our home in foreclosure during that period. I'm tired. I can't think. I can't, all the stuff that's happened to me. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, it's a tough situation.
pushplaypods.com